the kindness that changed everything. The rain had been falling steadily all morning, turning the bustling streets of downtown Seattle into a glistening maze of reflections and hurried footsteps. Emily Chen pulled her thin jacket tighter around her shoulders as she walked quickly along the sidewalk, her worn sneakers splashing through shallow puddles. She had just finished a double shift at St. Mary's Hospital, and every muscle in her body ached with exhaustion. Emily was 24 years old, but some days she felt much older. Working as a nurse while trying to pay off her student loans meant taking every extra shift she could get. Her apartment was small, her savings account smaller, but she never complained. Helping people was what she had always wanted to do, even if it meant living paycheck to paycheck. As she rounded the corner near the financial district, something caught her eye. An elderly woman in an elegant cream-colored coat was standing near the curb, one hand pressed against her forehead. Even from a distance, Emily could see that something was wrong. The woman swayed slightly, her other hand reaching out as if searching for support that wasn't there. Emily's nursing instincts kicked in immediately. She broke into a run, her tired legs suddenly finding new energy. Just as the woman's knees began to buckle, Emily reached her side, catching her gently and lowering her carefully to the wet pavement. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Emily asked softly, kneeling beside her in the rain. She didn't think about her uniform getting soaked or the cold water seeping through her clothes. All that mattered was this woman who needed help. The elderly woman's eyes fluttered open. She appeared to be in her 70s, with silver hair styled in a sophisticated updo and pearl earrings that caught the gray light. Despite her obvious distress, there was something dignified about her presence. I just felt so dizzy," the woman whispered, her voice trembling. Emily took the woman's wrist, checking her pulse with practiced fingers. It was weak but steady. She noticed the woman's skin felt clammy, and her breathing was shallow. "It's going to be okay," Emily said in the calm, reassuring tone she used with all her patience. "I'm a nurse. You're safe now. Have you eaten anything today?" The woman shook her head slightly. No, I had an important meeting. I forgot." Emily reached into her bag and pulled out a granola bar, her own lunch that she had saved for the bus ride home. Without hesitation, she unwrapped it and broke off a small piece. "Here, try to eat this slowly. Your blood sugar might be low." A small crowd had begun to gather, people holding umbrellas and staring with concern. A man in an expensive gray suit came running from across the street, his face pale with worry. He looked to be in his mid-30s, with dark hair and sharp, intelligent eyes that were now filled with panic. "Mother," he called out, pushing through the onlookers. He dropped to his knees beside them, seemingly oblivious to the water and dirt. "Mother, what happened?" Emily looked up at him, her hands still gently supporting the elderly woman. "She fainted, but she's conscious now. I think it might be low blood sugar." "Has she had any medical issues?" The man's eyes met Emily's, and for a moment, he seemed unable to speak. She's been working too hard. She always forgets to eat when she's stressed." Together, they helped the woman sit up more comfortably. Emily kept talking to her in soft, steady tones, asking questions to assess her awareness and stability. The man watched in amazement as this young nurse in a damp, wrinkled uniform took care of his mother with such gentle competence. "We should get her to a hospital," Emily said. "Just to be safe." "My car is right here," the man said, gesturing to the black SUV with its door still open. He must have jumped out the moment he saw his mother. With careful coordination, they helped the elderly woman into the back seat. Emily climbed in beside her, continuing to monitor her condition while the man got into the driver's seat. "I'm Daniel Morrison, by the way," he said, meeting Emily's eyes in the rearview mirror. "And this is my mother, Margaret Morrison." Emily nodded, still focused on her patient. The names meant nothing to her. She didn't follow business news or society pages. She had no idea that Daniel Morrison was the CEO of Morrison Industries, one of the largest tech companies in the Pacific Northwest, or that his mother Margaret had founded the company 40 years ago and still served as chairman of the board. At the hospital, Emily stayed with them even though her shift had ended hours ago. She made sure Margaret was properly admitted and that the doctors had all the information they needed. Only when Margaret was resting comfortably in a private room, with her blood sugar stabilized and color returning to her cheeks, did Emily quietly prepare to leave. "Wait," Daniel called out, stepping into the hallway after her. "Please, I need to thank you properly. You saved my mother's life." Emily smiled, that tired but genuine smile that came from her heart. I didn't do anything special. Anyone would have helped, but you did help, Daniel insisted. And you gave her your own food. You stayed with us even though you must be exhausted. He paused, studying her worn shoes and the hospital ID badge clipped to her jacket. Can I at least reimburse you for your time? Or help you with anything? Emily shook her head gently. That's not why I helped. Your mother needed someone, and I was there. That's what we do. Over the following weeks, Emily didn't think much about the incident. She returned to her routine of long shifts and quiet evenings in her small apartment. Then one morning, she was called into the hospital administrator's office. She walked in nervously, wondering if she had made some mistake. Instead, she found the administrator smiling broadly, with Daniel and Margaret Morrison sitting in chairs across from his desk. Miss Chen, the administrator said warmly, the Morrison family has established a scholarship fund in your name for nursing students. They've also made a substantial donation to our hospital's emergency care unit. Emily's eyes widened in shock. I don't understand. Margaret stood up, looking healthy and radiant. She took Emily's hands in hers. My dear, you helped me when I was at my most vulnerable. You didn't know who I was or whether I could repay you. You simply saw someone who needed help, and you gave everything you had, including your own meal. Her eyes glistened with tears. That kind of compassion is rare and precious. Daniel stepped forward, his expression warm. We also heard about your student loans. Consider them paid, and we'd like to offer you a position as the director of our new corporate wellness program, if you're interested. Emily felt tears streaming down her cheeks. For so long, she had struggled alone, believing that hard work and kindness were their own rewards. Now, standing in that office, she realized that sometimes, just sometimes, the universe gives back in ways you never expect. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Margaret smiled, squeezing her hands. Say you'll keep being exactly who you are. The world needs more people like you, Emily Chen. As rain continued to fall outside the window, Emily felt something warm and bright blooming in her chest. It wasn't just gratitude for the unexpected blessings. It was the confirmation of something she had always believed, that showing up for others, no matter how tired or poor you might be, was never wasted. Sometimes, one small act of kindness can change everything.